Thank you, Senator the Honourable Paul Richards, the Honourable Ayanna Webster Roy, Minister, Office of the Prime Minister, Gender and Child Affairs. The Honourable Diane Gatsby Dolly, Minister of Education, Online. Our Permanent Secretary, P.S. Teacheran, Permanent Secretary, Jacinta Bailey Sobers, Chairman of the Down Syndrome Family Network, Mr. Glenn Niles, and Lisa, other members of the Board of Directors of Down Syndrome Family Network, United Nations Assistant Resident Representative, Mrs. Sharifa Ali Abdullah, Mrs. Sharon Clark Rowley, Attorney at Law and Partner, MG Daly and Partners, Mrs. Jessamy Tang, Board Trustee, Down Syndrome International UK, Mr. Jordan Koo, Executive Director, National Down Syndrome Congress, USA, Ms. Candy Pickard, President and CEO, National Down Syndrome Congress, Mr. Stefan Lalonde, Scotiabank Director, Human Resources, Ms. Stacy Danissa, also of Scotiabank, self-advocates, Rochelle and Eileen, specially invited guests, and persons joining us online, members of the media. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Allow me to extend sincerest congratulations to the Down Syndrome Family Network on the achievement of its 10th anniversary. I know it has been a long and at times lonely journey, but rest assured you have touched the lives of numerous families through your advocacy, and for this, all of us gathered here today salute you. Your ability to gather this rich and robust panel of speakers to celebrate with you today is certainly a testimony of the quality of the collaboration that the Down Syndrome Family Network has developed with local and international stakeholders. The theme for this year's celebration is, what does inclusion mean? It highlights the ongoing need for the full and effective participation and inclusion of persons with disabilities in society, as prioritized by the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. However, the reality is that persons with Down syndrome and other persons with disabilities still do not benefit from full inclusion. And I believe that this may be because many persons simply either do not understand the meaning of inclusion or have yet to be exposed to a model of what an inclusive society actually looks like. The Down Syndrome Family Network will agree that everyone is precious and has value. And this is not dependent on an individual's physical or intellectual capacity, but rather on the simple fact that he or she is a person created in the image and likeness of God. Moreover, even though a person with a disability or illness often experiences difficulties in life, he or she still deserves the right to live life to the fullest, to be included in everyday activities, and to have roles similar to his or her peers. And this is what disability inclusion is about. And today, we recognize the Down Syndrome Family Network's advocacy for a more inclusive society for persons with disabilities. The Ministry of Social Development and Family Services has, at the core of its mandate, the provision of support to the most vulnerable sectors of the national community, which includes persons with disabilities. In executing its mandate, the ministry continues to maintain strategic partnerships with public and private entities, as well as advocacy groups such as the Down Syndrome Family Network, whose mission and vision aligns with ours. One area where this has become necessary is continued collaboration with regional and international partners to address the current inadequacies of primary research and usable data on the disability sector in Trinidad and Tobago. Data on persons with disabilities in Trinidad and Tobago derived from the 2011 Population and Housing Census estimated that there are approximately 52,244 persons living with a disability. And this represents at least 4% of the total population. And to Sharifa Ali Abdullah, I hear you with regards to the register of persons with disabilities. This is indeed much needed. Mindful of this, I am happy to advise that presently the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services is reviewing the national policy on persons with disabilities. And we are also reviewing the legislation with a view to ensuring alignment with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And we are thankful to many persons who have already submitted suggestions to us with regards to this legislation. And one of these persons includes Senator Paul Richards. And of course, before our policy goes towards legislation, we will be sending to the various organizations for comments, because this is very important. The ministry was actively involved with PAHO in the induction training workshop on the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, both as facilitators and participants. Ministry personnel were also actively involved on the steering committee for the situational analysis on the rights of persons with disabilities in Trinidad and Tobago. And going forward, we intend to continue working also with PAHO as they implement a full joint program from March this year to December 2024 on a number of projects related to capacity building of the members of the organizations that work with persons with disabilities, policy advisors, legal staff, and support technicians across the government ministries. We will be reviewing and amending key pieces of legislation to support the inclusion of persons with disabilities. We will be establishing guidelines for the collection of disability data that will be consistent with international standards, among others. And these initiatives will create a deeper level of collaboration among the community of persons with disabilities, the government, and the private sector. Furthermore, in an effort to encourage greater inclusion of persons with disabilities, the ministry hosted two specific initiatives. In April 2021, the Disability Affairs Unit held a poster competition entitled, "What does an ICT inclusive society mean to you?" Additionally, as a part of the commemoration of International Day of Persons with Disabilities, in December 2021, the unit enlisted the assistance of several NGOs within Trinidad and Tobago to have children with and without disabilities submit short videos explaining their understanding of the meaning of inclusion. Adults were also asked to showcase the advances made in ensuring an access in Trinidad and Tobago, as well as highlight some of the barriers that may still exist. The artwork and videos will become part of a national sensitization campaign to be launched in the coming months. At the ministry, we are resolute in our view that increased awareness of the capacity and potential of persons with disabilities will lead to a reduction in the misconceptions and stereotypes surrounding those living with disabilities. When attitudes change, interaction between persons with and without disabilities become more impactful and positive. Consequently, as the ministry works towards fulfilling the mandates of the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, strong focus has been placed on sensitization and awareness, as well as achieving the objectives of the action plan of the national policy on persons with disabilities. In this regard, the ministry's Disabilities Affairs Unit recently collaborated with the Caribbean Language Center to host 3 awareness and sign language sessions. And the sessions targeted frontline staff and members of the financial, information, and also communication sectors, as well as specific ministries and government agencies. And these sessions were designed to ensure that frontline staff were fully equipped with the skills necessary to competently communicate with the deaf and hearing impaired. We are also currently in the process of reviewing the ministry's disability assistance grants and other similar types of programs that are accessed by persons with disabilities. The purpose of this project is to ensure that our grants and programs are meeting the needs of persons with disabilities, and further, to ensure that the right persons are able to access these grants. And these initiatives form a part of the action plan of the National Policy on Persons with Disabilities to ensure an adequate standard of living for persons with disabilities. The ministry is cognizant that despite the best intentions of many NGOs, there still exists a capacity deficit in terms of structure, policies, financial management, and standard operating procedures, to name a few. And to this end, the ministry has been hosting capacity building workshops for NGOs so that this will provide persons with disabilities so as to ensure that they are capable of performing at optimal levels and are better able to efficiently serve the community of persons with disabilities. The ministry is preparing an easy-read version of the National Policy on Persons with Disabilities to ensure persons with intellectual disabilities are aware of their rights. Additionally, we are collaborating with the Ministry of Digital Transformation to ensure that all of the ministry's digital platforms are fully accessible to persons with disabilities. And this will expand on our initial project, which started in 2020, where we created a microsite to increase usage by persons with disabilities on our website. We also continue to support organizations that facilitate persons with disabilities. For example, in the last 3 years, the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services provided over $132 million in subventions and one-off grants to organizations supporting persons with disabilities. In closing, I take this opportunity to warmly congratulate the members of Down Syndrome Family Network for their vision and commitment to persons with Down syndrome. I give you the assurance that the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services will continue to provide the requisite support towards all efforts made to help, empower, and transform the lives of persons with disabilities, including those with Down syndrome. On behalf of the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, I wish you well in all your endeavors and leave you with our best wishes for a successful celebration and a productive year ahead. But please remember that accessibility benefits everyone, not just persons with disabilities. So let us create an inclusive society. Let us work together to ensure that no one is left behind. I thank you.